Hi, this is Dr. Thomas Rocco at the Fontenot Filming Studio with the CBD Health Podcast. Today's guest is Mahryah Shain, the CEO of MoreHairNaturally.com. If you're looking for a product to help with thinning hair or keep your hair beautiful, this is the podcast to listen to. Mahryah is going to talk about his organic products, which he initially, with his family, found from Italy and brought it here to California. Mahryah, thanks for taking time out of your busy schedule to speak with me at the CBD Health Podcast. Hi.
Hey there, how's it going?
How are you doing? It's Mahryah. Am I saying it right? Mahryah Shain?
Mahryah. Yeah,
How
you
are
got it.
you? Thanks for
Good,
coming
good.
on and talking to me. This is something totally different than you normally talk about. Usually
Oh,
I'm
cool.
talking
I'm
about
glad.
CBD and THC and marijuana, but this is more about a natural way to help with your hair. I guess it's morehairnaturally.com. So
Right.
it looks like you're out from in California.
We are. Yeah, we're out in California, make everything out here. Yeah.
And how long has this company, like you've been doing this with this product and being successful with it?
Oh, we've been doing it. Well, it has a kind of a cool evolution. The company's been around for about 20 plus years now. And just jump in?
Yeah, keep going. That's good. Keep
Okay,
going.
great.
Great.
Okay, so the company's been around for about 20 plus years now. And basically how it started was my father started losing his hair.
Mhm.
And we've always been of the philosophy that like anything our body needs to heal is available in nature. I mean, we've evolved, we've been on this planet for millions of years, and for millions of years, every answer we needed for health was in nature. Like we've evolved synergistically
Mhm.
with the world around us. And I don't believe that it's changed.
Right.
At the fundamental, that hasn't changed. So the philosophy has always been if something isn't working optimally in our bodies, what in nature is out there to support that function to get it working optimal again so the body can get back on track, because our bodies want to survive. Our bodies are made
Right.
to live and to survive and thrive. So that's always been the philosophy. But when my father started losing his hair,
Mhm.
there wasn't anything there except for the same drugs that were made in the 70s that are
Right.
still being used today, that have side effects, don't work as well as some people would
Mhm.
like. And so he didn't know what to do. And so I mean, there's always home remedies. There's always like onions on your head or some weird thing like that. But I mean, there's validity in that. The sulfuric content is really good for the hair, but you're never gonna get it from just onion juice.
Right.
Um, so so he started taking those drugs, which was not a typical action for
Mhm.
our family philosophy. And he got really sick. His immune system dropped. He got lethargic. He started developing breasts actually because it messed with his hormones.
Right.
And so it wasn't. He stopped. And my mother is from Italy. She's from and we have cousins in the Lake Como region. And
Mhm.
she was just talking to him, just as family members talk, like, oh yeah, this is going, this is on. And they're like, well, there's this little pharmacy. They call all the labs
Right.
pharmacies.
Right.
Yes,
Yep.
she's like, there's this little pharmacy down the street that is doing some really exciting research in this area,
Mhm.
and they're making this thing, this product. And so my mom's like, was like, send us some, let's see how it works. And so we got some, and he started using it, and it started working.
Mhm.
And then we eventually just became the North American distributors. So
Wow.
that was our entrance into the world. But at
And
that
how
point,
long ago was how long ago was that? That was 15, 20 years ago.
that was a little over 20 years ago.
Right.
Now the trick was that we didn't know anything about hair loss
Mhm.
at that point. We just found this thing that worked, and so we're like, we could sell this. This is great.
Right.
Once we were in it, we were like, we should probably learn about hair loss at this point.
But
you know?
just to start, like it's an N of one, just one person. And going from your dad, he went to
Yeah.
traditional prescriptions, a doctor's helping him out, all these side effects. And now you found something more organic with
Yes.
no side effects and actually results. And this is 15, 20 years ago. And that's why you started saying this is going to really help people.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So once we entered into that world, we started learning about the mechanics of hair loss and what hair loss is. And then once we start discovering what it was, we're like, we could do better,
Right.
because we started researching like what's happening in the world, because science didn't go to sleep in 1970 when it came up with, the drugs that we're using today. They didn't just go to sleep at that point.
Right.
There's still research. Research is always going on, but how come that research isn't available anywhere?
Mhm.
So that's when we started researching like what's going on in the world of hair loss, and we started finding stem cells, probiotics, amino acids, and all these incredible ingredients that were out there. And it was at that point that we found a lab here in California, and we're like, listen, we're finding all these studies everywhere. None of these items are in products.
Mhm.
Can we take all of these studies and put them into one product, but at the same clinical strength that's getting results, and make that? And they're like, we don't know. And it's a big lab that specializes in this kind of
Mhm.
research. They specialize in natural formulations and stuff.
Mhm.
And eventually they were able to do it. And then at that point, we moved all the operations to California, and we started just building out our products based on that philosophy of
Right.
what's the problem we need to solve, and what in the world is creating those results in the natural field, but like really creating it, not like home remedies. We're looking for
Mhm.
like scientific evolution and evidence. And then can we put that into a product?
When did you come to California?
Well, we moved everything to California in 2013, and
2013.
then we released our first product under this whole concept and philosophy in 2016. And
Wow.
since then, the whole product line has evolved to be
Right.
everything's made here in California now. They're all with like various stem cells, and
Mhm.
really focusing on stem cells and amino acids and peptide complexes is really what we're
So
focusing on.
when your dad was in Lake Como and found this pharmacy with
Yeah,
this
yeah,
product,
yeah, yeah.
did you know what was in the product then, or is this something that you researched like that substance and figured out what it was that was helping with, regaining your hair growth?
Right. No, we didn't. We found something that worked, and we
Mhm.
knew it was natural. We found a natural product that worked,
Mhm.
and then we took it from there. And then that's where our interest peaked. And then once we started selling it, we're like, well, we got to know what we're doing here.
Mhm.
So it's kind of like the backwards effect. And then when we realized
Mhm.
what it was very exciting, because what the thing is that the reason people lose their hair, there's tons of reasons. There's medical conditions, there's
Mhm.
side effects from medication, there's stress, which is huge.
Mhm.
But 97% of people lose their hair because of genetics.
Right. Right.
That's the overall arcing. There's tons of other hormonal changes, but the overall arcing is that. But the mechanics of, when you say genetics, people are like, oh, I'm destined to my
Mhm.
genetics. There's no
Right.
hope. It is what it is. I'm apathetic. Just eat me alive.
And
But
the only
that's
thing I know about hair loss and genetics is an old wives' tale. They say that the mother's side
Mhm.
grandfather is where you is more likely the potential what your hair is going to be like. Not sure if
totally.
that's true or not, but that's what I've heard.
I've heard that as well, and we find it to be relatively true, but
Right.
not 100%
Right.
true,
Not
because
100%.
it's not 100% true. I mean, like in my case, I should be 100% bald right now.
Mhm.
Every single man in my family is just bald, bald, bald. I'm thrilled to have what I have at this point in my life. But the way that the genetics work, once we found it out, we're like, oh, this is what got us excited about, we
Mhm.
can actually make a difference here. Was that so when our bodies produce testosterone,
Mhm.
um, it breaks down that testosterone so it can use it, and in that metabolization process, it creates a byproduct called DHT. Now, this is just excreted through the body, not a big deal. However, when it passes by the hair follicle, it gets stuck in these little potholes on the follicle.
Mhm.
Now, these potholes, the receptor sites, it's not the scientific term, but it's a good visual and it's simple and it gets the point across. So you have these little potholes, and that's the inherited trait. How many of these potholes you inherit on your follicle, that's the inherited trait of hair loss. So just because you have potholes doesn't mean you're going to have hair loss.
Right.
You know, you might not produce a lot of testosterone. Your body might not be producing a lot of DHT, in which case you're not going to see hair loss till much later in life. But if you have, you know, very few potholes and you produce tons of DHT, you're going to get hair loss early. But so what happens is when the DHT passes by the follicle, it gets stuck in these little potholes. And over time, as more and more gets stuck, it begins to cut the blood flow off to the follicle. And as less and less blood is delivered to the follicle gets weaker and weaker and weaker, and then eventually dies.
Right, makes a lot of sense.
Right. So when we found that, we're like, okay, so the goal is to get the DHT off the follicle. You know, we're not trying to change the way the body metabolizes testosterone, because that's a bad idea, because our body, testosterone is amazing for the body. And if we set the body up that it can't use the testosterone it's producing, there's going to be a problem, you know? So we're not trying to change how your body metabolizes. All we want to do is just get it off the follicle. And we found there was a couple of different components. We have some, like, you know, we do have some peptides that like dissolve DHT that are like copper based and stuff. But the main thing that we use for that is have you heard of hyaluronic acid?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, it's great. So it's tons of skin creams have it. It's in your joints, your eyeballs.
Right.
So we have a pharmaceutical grade hyaluronic acid, which is 10 times the molecular weight of a hyaluronic acid you'd find in other products. And what this does is it absorbs into the scalp, and over time it coats the follicle and because of the slimy texture of the slippery texture of it, it causes the DHT just to slide off. So the DHT slides off, the blood can start flowing back to the follicle. And this leaves behind a little coat, so future DHT doesn't build back up, at least for a little while. So the blood starts flowing back to the follicle. And at the same time, so that was the first thing. So we did that early on. And we're like, this is great. You know, this is great. This is actually, you know, hair starting to fill in. And, you know, it seems to be the shedding is slowing down. But the issue we were having at that point was that it wasn't fast enough. The results weren't. And what we found was that, you know, when somebody's been having hair loss for a while, a lot of times the follicle is very damaged. And so for that rejuvenation, sometimes it needs more help than just bringing the blood flow back to it. So that's when we started introducing the stem cells, the probiotics, and the amino acids. So we get the blood flowing back to it, and at the same time, we start bombarding it with, you know, all these really rich, rejuvenating nutrients. And so we're bringing it back from that end as well.
That's amazing. So when you talk about hyaluronic acid, and you know the different components of it, you talked about stem cells, peptides. Is that what you would consider the peptide component of helping with hair loss?
Yeah. Just exactly. Yeah. Everything that we put in the products, we found. So we're not like, I'm not a scientist, but I do read and I do like I'm interested. So we look for things that are like making changes in laboratory studies. And then when we find them, if they're compelling enough, you know, again, all natural, we're looking for like stuff that's newer, that's out there, that we're just now discovering, you know? And so if we find them, what we do is then I turn that information over to our lab. I'm like, is this something that we can do? You know? And usually we do multiples, you know, so it's not just one, we look for a whole packet. Like,
so when you talk about also like using stem cells and probiotics as well, is that a different, like, what I like is you're just, with anything, it's not one thing that fixes it. It's usually multifactorial. And it's more than one thing you need to improve whatever it might be when it comes to human body.
Yeah. And sometimes you don't know too.
Right. You
sometimes
don't know.
You don't know which element's going to work. We know that all of them are very beneficial to our bodies in general. We know that, but we don't know which one is going to be the most beneficial to your particular body. So if we have them all in there, one's going to be carrying most of the weight, but if they're all in there, chances are there's going to be something in there that's going to kick in for you.
I really love the idea of stem cells, though. I mean, that's
Yeah.
like you're just enhancing your cells to work better. I mean, like what I love is what you're talking about is we're not changing anything. You just want your body to work better. And
Right.
I'm a wound doctor. I always tell people we're not healing the wounds. The person's going to heal the wounds. We're just making your environment better for your body to heal quicker. And that's what it comes down to.
Always. Exactly. Because like I said in the beginning, our bodies are made to survive.
Right.
They're made to be self-sufficient. They're made to take care of themselves.
Absolutely.
And then sometimes, though, those elements that encourage or support that get a little damaged or get a little weak. There's a lot in our environment these days that wasn't there, 100 years ago, 200 years ago. There's so many toxins and chemicals and things that are adversely affecting our body, and preservatives, just junk that over time is having like adverse effects on our systems.
Right.
So the concept is to like get those systems strong again so the body can be self-sufficient, because a self-sufficient body is going to last. A body that's dependent on some sort of drug or medication to be self-sufficient, it's that drug that's making you self-sufficient, not your body. And then you stop taking that, and either two things happen. One, you believe that you need that.
Right.
So your body's not going to keep up, or you actually can't keep up. And so you need to be dependent on that. And that affects your self-esteem too, because that it's not you, it's something else. So your self-esteem goes a little bit down because you're not responsible for your body. Somebody else is responsible. Something else is responsible for your body.
Right. That's what I mean. I part of this, being I educate on medical marijuana and CBD. And the thing I like about CBD is obviously it's not psychoactive, but it's enhancing our immune system to work better. It's not changing what we're doing. That's why THC is different. You get psychoactive components, but CBD is just like what you're talking about. It's just making our immune system fight off the stressors that make us feel better. And it doesn't change how we function. But I looked at the website. There's some, cool stuff for people to look at. I mean, again, there's a before and after photos that are amazing. It looks like it really helps. But there's this take the hair quiz. Is this something you should? I didn't go through it. Should you take it? And does this help decide what you should try in terms of a product?
Well, what it will eventually. Right now, what it does is it points you in the direction of like education. And it points you in the direction of specific education for your situation. It will offer products. The thing that's tricky about offering products through that is it's not an overnight process. It's like a healing mechanism. Like we have on the top of our website, on every page, there's phone numbers, and we always like people to call in because
I'm the same way. Yes,
because we like to be able to make sure that someone's going to get results. And the only way we can really, really do that is by talking to them about their situation and because some people, might only need a 3-month program, but some people might need a year program. Some people might need to go really hard for a while. Some people might not, so there's different aspects of it. Like, nowadays, most people don't like to call it, they like to buy, and that's fine too. But we do encourage it because, it's like a 3 to 6 month minimum before people start with any healing process. Before people really start to see realistic results. And sometimes someone will buy one bottle and they're like upset that they don't, look like Brad Pitt at the end of the month. And we're like, I understand what you're going for, and I appreciate what you're going for.
Yeah.
But it's a little bit more work than that.
Right. So you need a plan. I think with anything, it's easier when you have somebody guide you. And obviously, all they have to do is call. Do they have to make an appointment? You just call the number.
No, our goal here is really to put people back in control of their lives. We want people to have the self-esteem and the confidence that they need to make their lives better. And so we do have phone numbers. We do offer this service for free because we want people to get results. And when you get results, that gives you the confidence that you need to make choices and decisions in other areas of your life, because
Right.
you now have the confidence that you're on the right track.
Right.
So that's pretty much where we're coming from. So that's why we
Right.
set this up like that.
So, you talked about months therapy, and like you said, it depends on what you're looking for. I'm assuming I didn't really go through all the products, but it seems like most of it's topical. Is that correct?
It's all topical.
It's all
Yeah.
topical. There's no
Yeah.
pills or anything like that.
Yeah.
And when you're doing, just say you make a goal, possibly if it's 3 to 6 months or a year, when you feel like you've hit the goal that you want to become, is it something that you're going to now do forever, or is it something you then stop and see what happens?
Yeah. No, it's basically how we do it is we do it it's essentially usually about a year commitment.
Mhm.
And then at that point, like 6 months to a year, but more like a year.
Right.
And then we reevaluate. Some people just like to keep going because they're very happy with the results. They feel confident. They like how it feels, and they just keep going.
Right.
Other people, they go to like a smaller program for a
Mhm.
little bit, and then they sort of look at where they're at, and then they stop.
Right.
And then like a few years later, they come back for a little like touch
Right.
up.
Right.
So
Exactly.
the goal is not to keep someone on it for forever.
Forever.
People
Okay.
do like to extend it because they feel good doing it, and they're
Mhm.
happy with how it's going, and they're like, yeah, let's just keep going.
Right.
But we do say, like, if you're happy with where you're at, then maybe stop for a little bit.
Right.
Let's see what happens. Let's see where
Right.
it goes. You can always come back for a smaller one. The most important thing, though, is right out of the gate to go aggressive. I mean, the
Right.
same with anything healing the body, right
Mhm.
out of the gate.
Right.
You got to make turnaround. You got to make change. And to do that, it's an aggressive approach.
Right.
And then at that point, and then once that initial change has been made, you can ease back a little bit.
Right.
But that initial jumping off point needs to
Yep.
be pretty strong.
So I'm aggressive. I'm again assuming this is not a shampoo. This is something you put in your hair,
Right.
and you leave it. So when you say aggressive, I'm doing it more than once every day, or is it?
No. So you're right. It isn't a shampoo. Shampoos, there's no shampoo, including ours, that is actually going to help with
Mhm.
shedding or hair loss.
Right.
Period. The shampoos are great for, like, they can help with scalp health,
Mhm.
they can help with volume, they can
Right.
help with cleaning,
Mhm.
but there is no shampoo because whatever you use has to absorb into the scalp, and the
Mhm.
shampoo's not
Gotcha.
going
Yep.
to do that the way it needs to do it. So when I say aggressive, we have two different products that we use that address different angles. One is the one that I mentioned in the beginning.
Mhm.
The other one of the things that we learned about in our research was that as the follicle starts to get weak, the hair the growth cycle starts to get shorter and shorter, which is why often people, when their hair is thin, they can't grow it long. Or it takes very, very long time to grow because the growth cycle is too short. So we have another product that we suggest if someone's been going through a lot of loss and having loss for a while, that we suggest that they use in conjunction. So they would use one in the evening, one in the morning, one in the evening. And this one focuses on two things. One is it uses a very specific set of probiotics to completely rebalance the microbiome of the scalp.
Which is really important.
Yes. So we just handle that because, any kind of non-optimum scalp condition is going to impede healthy growth, especially when the hair is already weak, in a non-optimum condition. So, we handle that, and that handles any kind of, like, can address like inflammation, itchiness, dryness, scratchiness, anything like that. Then the other thing we address is using a different set of stem cells. We help address that growth cycle to help kick it into a growth phase and try to hold it there. So on one end, we're rebuilding the hair. On the other end, we're encouraging this, like, healthy, like, come on now it's time to go.
Right. So that's the aggressive kind of therapy, which
Yeah.
seems to be multiple times a day. And
Once in the morning, once in the evening, but different products.
Different products, which is easy. You just, you would shower in the morning, and then you would put your first morning product, and then right before you go to sleep, I'm assuming you put on the second product.
Yeah, and it's
there's
easy.
no special cap you wear. You just put it on
30
and you're
seconds.
done.
You hold. It's an airless pump bottle. It's water based. You hold it as close to the scalp as possible. spray just enough to saturate those thinning areas of the scalp, not the hair, the scalp, because the goal is to absorb into the scalp.
Right.
Massage it in for 30 seconds, let it dry.
That's simple. It's so simple.
Simple. Yeah, we're very intentional in that.
Right.
Because we need people to use it. It doesn't help if someone buys it. We need them to use it.
Right. Right.
And if it's too complicated or it messes too much with someone's routine or lifestyle habits, it just won't get used. So they might purchase it, but they won't use it. So we're like, we got to make this easy so that people can actually get the results and use it to get the results.
Right. Right. Now, I just you assume with hair loss it's for men, but I guess women with thin hair absolutely works just as well.
Women, it works great on women, and we have about 40% of our client are women.
Wow, I think that's kind of high. I would think it would be more men, much more men.
Yeah, it's high, and but women get better results, and the reason women get better results is because they act faster than men.
Right.
Men wait.
Right, exactly. So true.
Men wait.
So
they
true.
procrastinate. They put it off. They're like, whatever. Women, when their hair starts to thin, and then because society, unfortunately and unfairly, has different standards for men and women when it comes to hair. So when a woman starts to thin out or lose her hair, it's a little bit more traumatic, than it is for a man. I mean, it shouldn't be that way, but that's the way it is. So a woman will take action very quickly, and because of that, there's not as much damage, and she gets results faster and better. Whereas a man will wait 20 years and then decide to do something, and there's already dead follicles. Once the follicle's dead, you can't do anything about it.
That's a great point. Like if you can wait too long to get your help using this product.
Yeah, exactly. You can. It's true, because like if a follicle dies, it dies. That's it. I mean, you can tell a follicle's dead by shiny bald areas. That's an indication of a dead follicle over a prolonged period. If someone has an acute illness and they lose their hair and there's all this shiny spots on their scalp, that doesn't mean the follicle's dead. There is a dormant phase, and so that can often come back. But if someone's been just losing standard pattern balding for 20 years, there's going to be dead follicles mixed in on their scalp, so it will never come back 100%.
Right. And I'm sure there are people that call you that have a nice hair and they want to keep it nice. And so I'm assuming, the treatment of that is different. If I don't know, would using it maybe, once a week or twice a week work just as well for people that have hair that's nice and they just don't want to lose it?
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, that well, it varies. It varies. Usually, even in those cases, because somebody who calls us who has like a good head of hair and they're like concerned, usually they're concerned because there's a little extra shedding happening. It still looks good, but there's a little extra something going on that's unusual. So in those cases, we're like, listen, you want to go hard for about 3 months, and then like every day, both products, and then just go to a couple times a week after that.
Right.
And so we still out of the gate, we still encourage like a little bit of an aggressive, and then just and then you can just maintain for a while. But the funny thing is we do Zoom consultations also with people and stuff, and it's so subjective.
Right.
Sure,
absolutely.
As it should be. We'll have people that look great and they have these like crazy full head of hairs and like, I'm losing my hair, I need help. And we're like, okay, yeah, let's talk what's going on. But they look great, And then there's other people that are like, yeah, a little shedding here and there, but they're like basically almost bald, So it's all subjective.
It's all subjective.
But it's true. That's the point, though. It is all subjective, because ultimately our goal is to have you look at yourself in the mirror and feel great and get that confidence boost that makes you feel really good about yourself and get out into the world and make a change. Now, if you look at yourself and you're totally bald or have like weird patches of hair, but you're like, I look great, then you do, you do look great, and you got it, and go out there and make a difference, But if society views you as looking amazing because you have this beautiful mane, but you feel like it's wrong or bad or thinning, you're going to be introverted. You're not going to have your attention out. Your attention is going to be on yourself.
Right.
So the goal is to get you feeling great about yourself. And the physical, the physical matters. It matters only because it affects the mental.
Absolutely true.
That's it. That's the only reason it matters.
Right. It's so true. I do a bunch of things. One's wound care, one's chronic pain management. But like I tell people, when you have pain for a long period of time, that's physical, it becomes mental because you're not yourself. Right. And that's a bad subjective thing for people. You want people to feel good about themselves no matter what it is.
Yeah.
But I do understand, like what you said about, even for somebody who has nice hair, you still should be aggressive about your treatment early on because of how you want to manage the DHT. And you can't, it sounds like you really got to get that under the right situation before you can manage it like a couple of times a week.
Yeah, like the more buildup of DHT that's there, the harder it is to get off.
Right.
So if you can get it off in the early stages when there's not so much attached to it,
right,
then it's a much easier, faster process.
But I mean, this is great because like you said, you're making your body work normally, work better. Yeah. It's organic. There's no side effects to it.
Oh.
Like you said, taking a prescription, you never know what's going to happen.
Right. That's the problem. And a lot of times, like, our bodies are synergistically connected in ways we will never understand.
It's true.
So when you alter like one little element in there, the ramifications it has across your body are something that you will not know until 6 months, a year, maybe, when you get this weird twitch in your shoulder. You know what I mean? Like, because it's all connected. So we don't want to touch that at all.
Right.
We don't want to touch that, but we want people to feel great about themselves as well. We want people to have that confidence. And if this is the way we can help achieve that, then we found a way to do it in a way that doesn't alter your health.
Anything else. Exactly.
Yeah.
So if anybody wants to contact you, they should go to morehairnaturally.com, right? And then they can set up, I think the meeting is the most important thing, just to get started, and then do it correctly without wasting time or money, and then go from there.
Yeah, we just call the number on the top or the bottom. People, you can either do it on the phone. You can there is a way to set up a Zoom call. Right. Either one is fine. Whatever is easiest or most convenient. I mean, people can always just buy something. A lot of people do, but if someone wants to take it to that next level and has the time, why not? It's only 10 minutes.
Exactly. All right, Mahryah, I really appreciate time. I want to look further into it. I also want to take the hair quiz and see what happens.
Yeah, totally.
On your website. It's just kind of fun. It's fun to do. It's interactive.
Yeah.
But it all makes sense. And it's for, like you said, it's for males, females. It's for people with hair that want to keep their beautiful hair.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But again, it's about like understanding the situation, giving you tools to put you back in control of your life. Right. Like that's really all we're doing here. We're just giving you tools to put you back in control of your life. You have a situation that you feel is out of control. You don't know how to fix it. Let's give you some tools.
Exactly.
Let's make you responsible for your body and make you responsible for, your condition.
Right. Absolutely. All right. Great. I appreciate the time. Let's keep in touch.
Yes.
It sounds like you're doing great. Well, we should do this again sometime.
Yeah, I'd love to.
If there's a new product too, you should definitely reach out to me so we can talk about that as well.
All right? That's exciting. Great. I'd love to.
All right. Great. Thank you, Mahryah. Thank you for the time.
Yeah. So nice meeting you.
Same here. Take care.
All right. Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.